Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine while walking alone in the woods at night? That unsettling feeling that you're being watched by something just beyond the tree line? The United States is a vast country, filled with sprawling forests, desolate deserts, and deep, dark swamps. And in these hidden corners, legends persist of creatures that defy explanation. These are the cryptids, beings that science says don't exist, but that countless eyewitnesses swear they've seen. Today, we journeying into the shadows to uncover the dark lore behind some of America's most terrifying reported cryptids. We'll explore the stories that have been whispered around campfires for generations. Tales that suggest we might not be as alone as we think. So, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and prepare to question what's real. Let's start our journey in the misty forest of the Pacific Northwest, home to perhaps the most famous cryptid of all, Bigfoot. While many picture a gentle giant, the original stories are far more sinister. Indigenous legends from the region speak of the Sasquatch not as a shy ape, but as a powerful, often malevolent, wild man of the woods. These weren't just sightings, they were warnings. Stories passed down through generations described them as territorial beings that would steal food, kidnap people, and sometimes even commit acts of violence against those who trespassed in their domain. One of the most chilling accounts comes from Ape Canyon in Washington state. In 1924, a group of miners claimed their cabin was attacked for hours by multiple large, hairy creatures. They said the beast hurled massive boulders at their shelter, trying to break in throughout the night. The men were so terrified that they abandoned their mine and never returned. It's stories like these that paint a much darker picture of Bigfoot, reminding us that if it does exist, it's a powerful wild animal, not a friendly character. From the forest, we travel to the skies of West Virginia. In 1966, the town of Point Pleasant was gripped by fear. Over a period of 13 months, more than 100 people reported seeing a massive, winged humanoid with glowing red eyes. They called it the Mothman. Witnesses described it as being 7 feet tall, with a wingspan of over 10 feet. It didn't flap its wings like a bird but seemed to glide effortlessly, often keeping pace with cars traveling at over 100 miles per hour. People who encountered the Mothman reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and terror. The sightings were often followed by strange phenomena: mysterious phone calls with screeching sounds, poltergeist activity in homes, and visits from menacing men in black suits who would intimidate witnesses into silence. The entire saga culminated in a horrific tragedy. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Ohio, collapsed during rush hour, sending dozens of cars into the icy river below and claiming 46 lives. The Mothman was never reliably seen in the area again. This led to the terrifying theory that the creature wasn't the cause of the disaster, but a harbinger of it, an omen of doom, drawn to places where tragedy is about to strike. The question remains, was it trying to warn them, or was it simply a spectator to their fate? Next, we head down to the swamplands of the American South, specifically to Bishopville, South Carolina, the territory of the lizard man of Scape or Swamp. In the summer of 1988, a 17-year-old named Christopher Davis was driving home late one night when he got a flat tire near the swamp. As he was finishing the repair, he heard a noise from the woods. He looked up to see a horrifying creature charging at him. He described it as being over 7 feet tall, green, and scaly, with 3-fingered hands and glowing red eyes. He scrambled into his car and sped away, but the creature managed to jump onto the roof. Davis swerved violently, throwing the beast off before escaping. When he returned home, terrified, his family saw the damage to his car. The side view mirror was mangled, and there were deep scratches and dents on the roof. In the following weeks, more reports flooded in. Other drivers found their cars similarly mauled, with strange bite marks and scratches. A local sheriff investigated and found large, 3-toed footprints near the swamp. Unlike some cryptids that remain elusive, the lizard man seemed to leave a trail of physical evidence, a terrifying calling card that it was very real and very close. Let's move west, to the desolate plains and forest of the Midwest and Northeast, where a creature born of starvation and desperation is said to roam. This is the Wendigo. Rooted in the folklore of Algonquian-speaking peoples, the Wendigo is a truly horrifying entity. It's not just a monster you might stumble upon. It's a spirit of winter and famine that can possess a human being. According to legend, a person who resorts to cannibalism to survive a harsh winter is at risk of being transformed into a Wendigo. The creature is described as gaunt and emaciated, with its skin stretched tightly over its bones. Yet it possesses superhuman strength and an insatiable hunger for human flesh. The more it eats, the larger it grows, and the hungrier it becomes. It is a symbol of greed and excess. The lore says it can move with the speed of the wind and mimic human voices to lure its victims into the wilderness. One of the most famous historical accounts is that of Jack Fiddler, an OG Cree chief who claimed to have defeated 14 Wendigos in his lifetime. He was arrested by Canadian authorities in the early 20th century for killing a woman who he believed was on the verge of turning into one. For him and his people, the Wendigo was not a myth. It was a real and present danger. Finally, we go deep into the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, a vast, dense forest that covers over 1 million acres. This is the domain of the Jersey Devil. The legend dates back to 1735. A woman known as Mother Leeds, already having 12 children and facing poverty, allegedly cursed her 13th unborn child, shouting she'd rather it be the devil. The story goes that on a stormy night, she gave birth to a grotesque creature with leathery bat-like wings, a horse-like head, and cloven hooves. It screeched, unfurled its wings, and flew up the chimney, disappearing into the pines. For over 150 years since, people have reported seeing this creature. The most famous wave of sightings occurred in 1 week in January 1909. Thousands of people across the Delaware Valley reported seeing the creature. It was sighted in cities and towns, leaving strange tracks in the snow on rooftops and in fields. Panic ensued. Schools and factories closed as people were too afraid to go outside. Police fired at it, but their bullets seemed to have no effect. The creature was described as emitting a terrifying, blood-curdling scream before vanishing. To this day, hikers and residents near the Pine Barrens report eerie sounds and fleeting glimpses of a winged figure in the night sky, keeping the legend of the Jersey Devil terrifyingly alive. From Bigfoot's raw power to the Mothman's prophetic dread, the Lizard Man's violent attacks, the Wendigo's insatiable hunger, and the Jersey Devil's demonic origin, these stories are more than just campfire tales. They are woven into the fabric of local history and culture, representing our deepest fears of the unknown and the wildness that still exist on the fringes of our modern world. Whether you believe they are real animals, misidentified creatures, or manifestations of our collective anxiety, their legends continue to haunt the American landscape. They remind us that there are still dark corners of the map left to explore, and perhaps some things are better left undiscovered. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the dark side of American folklore. What cryptid do you find the most terrifying? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to explore more mysteries with me, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Stay safe out there, and always check the shadows.